Dave here. How are you? Today is the 14th of February. It's not January. Last week I said it was the 7th of January. Well, seniors moment, and I apologize for that. I hope the stream's coming through fine. If someone could let me know, that'd be fantastic. What are we up to today? Today on the show. I'll just wait to see how we go. Up and running loud and clear. Thanks, Tipo. Thank you. All right. This week on the show, a neat way of cutting the lid off the cedar box. Now, I'm sorry I put that picture up with the paint can beside it, all that stuff. I just thought, you know, we've been on this box for a while. Let's just look. Last week we glued it up, and that's what it's looking like now. So it's just beautiful, absolutely fantastic. And I want to show you how I'm going to separate the lid off the box. Last week we had a few people saying, a box that's never to be opened. Well, it's just the way that it's easy to make the box. So I'll show you that. Drum sanders. Do I like mine and getting the results I want after owning it for a while now? This is my drum sander here. I'll take you through part of separating the lid from the box by using the drum sander to create a fillet. So yeah, all my secrets kept inside. So this is going to be part of the process of cutting the lid off. Temporary bonding trick. A lot of you will know, but maybe the newcomers won't. So I'll explain that in a second. Upgrading my dust extraction soon and why. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Hollows and rounds, a quick demo if I've got time. And this last week I said goodbye to my old jointer. So let's see if I've got a picture here of it saying goodbye. There it is, on a truck bound for rural New South Wales. And that was a little bit of a sad day. It was a beautiful jointer. Why did I get rid of it? Well, it was a massive, big, long thing. And yeah, it was fantastic for when I needed to be able to dress things like that. Now that I don't, I've got this new under-over machine, which I just can't fault. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, there you go. And the best blade I've used for melamine. And I'm going to show you how to use it on my table saw. And there's a couple little tips. I probably have shown people before, but again, newcomers, why not? All right, let me think about what we're going to do and how we're going to do all of this. I trust everyone's had a good week. Oh, good morning, baby. How are you? Morning. Good morning, Jeremy, and everyone else that said hello. Let me see. What I'm going to do is explain why I need to do everything that I've just spoken about. And I'm going to show you quickly here. See on the bottom of this box, it's got legs. Now I've made these legs here and here and here, all the way around, as part of the box before I actually glued it together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this on the table saw. I thought of all sorts of different ways of doing it. I was thinking about running it over a router, you know, with a nice little 1/8 cutter to separate the lid like Cole does. But this is around 17 or 18 millimeters thick. Now I know I could have done it in multiple passes, but I actually didn't have any of those cutters here. So the smallest cutter I've got is a 1/4 inch, and that was going to be taking too much out of the box, and I didn't really want to do that. What I want to do is, it's really hard to actually see the dovetails in this. They've come up so well. I'm thinking about where to do this cut. Now I've got a large section of tail, then I've got pin, and then I've got tail again beside it. To hold on to that pin correctly, I should be cutting into the second tail down from the top. That's my thoughts anyway. Hi Stephanie, how are you? What are your thoughts? I was also thinking about cutting right on the junction of the pin to the tail here. And so that the blade is 1/8 of an inch thick on my saw. And that distance of the thickness, or the 14-degree angle that's there, I think it's 14 degrees, would end up being over this distance around the right thickness. I don't know. I'm thinking I'll take it maybe 4 millimeters below the bottom of the tail. It's one of these things. I'm just thinking about it. Anyway, so what I've got to do is to put it over the table saw. Obviously, I can't push this against the fence because I'll be against the fence on the feet, and then the feet will be kind of off the fence, and then they'll come onto the fence and then drop off the fence at the other end because it's such a long box. I've been thinking, well, maybe I could do an extension on the fence, and I tried actually setting up the one of the mag switch style adapters that I've made for my rip fence on the table saw, but it wasn't going to work. So my decision is, and I'm going to have a quick read down the side here because this is going to be a lot of an interactive show today as well. 15 more inches on top. All right, you're all talking about the snow. I thought you were talking about the box. My apologies, my apologies. All right. So my plan is to measure the box. I keep on moving it up and down. I love this thing. All right. The length of the box is 584 by 295. Now behind me, I have my offcuts from, doing stuff that I love to do. Rather than throw these out, ordinarily these small ones, I would have just binned them. On the other side are all the really nice exotic timbers. So I want something that's going to be, what did I say, let's say around 580 by 290. I've got it all written down here, 580, 290, 290. I think this one. Look at that. I'll cut it out of that. This is a cutout from Vicky's quilting table. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run it over the jointer to take one side off, and then I'll rip it down on the table saw, and I'll use the melamine blade as I was saying. So I'm going to switch cameras. 1/8 of millimeters. Okay, millimeters, it's 3.2. 1/8 is pretty easy. I'm old school, and the conversion in Australia happened while I was going through school and through TAFE. So, kind of multi-measural, if there's such a word. All right, Eb, how are you, sweetie? Thank you for that. All right, let's switch the cameras over to the other side, and we'll take it from there. I'm not going to be able to look at the screen for a while, and I'll bring this one around to possibly tilt it a little bit so it's looking good. Tilt it to about there. How's that looking? Okay, you'll be able to see me over at the jointer doing stuff. Get the old eye muffs. I keep on threatening to do another giveaway for the eye muffs. I really must get in touch with George and ask him about that, if I can do one for him. Okay, open that up and get my wireless remote from down here. And I think we're going to be good. Yep, going great. Pull this forward. To there, lock it, bring it back to about there. That's all covered. Okay, I got a couple of steps from when I cut it out. We're down to around about 1 millimeter in cut. Give it another one. One more. Now, like all of these things, the slower you go, the cleaner the cut is going to happen. And that's one of the things that's going to happen over there. All right, spin this around this way a little. And again, I'll just check that everyone can see what's happening. Yep, cool. Now I'm going to rip this down to 295 if I've got it there. You can see how I was going to do it. I was going to see if I could extend this out far enough to carry the box without the feet dropping off the end. But then I realized I'd have the same problem at the far end, so I'm not going to use that. I'll take that off. Pop that over there for the moment. 295, I said. Good. Now, this blade that I'm using is, I'm going to shamelessly say it, it's an Amana tool blade. And it's a little bit thicker than my normal blades. My normal blades are 1/8 of an inch. This is a millimetre wider. This is 4.2, basically on the kerf. Very, very substantial blade. And this is the one that I measured the run out on my arbor a little while ago and got 1 thou. So all of a sudden, I'm in love with this blade. And you know why that is so impressive to me? It's because if your blade wobbles at all while you're cutting something like melamine, you're going to get chipping on the surface, top and bottom, mostly on the bottom. So the trick to cutting melamine with these, even if it's just an ordinary rip blade, you'll still get a pretty decent result, but not as good as this. First thing you do is lower it down until you're just at the bottom of the gullet of the blade. So the gullet is the point between the teeth down at the bottom. This is the clearance area that it's going through. Now, one of the other tricks is, and as I just said to everyone, go slow. This does not have a scribing blade in front. So if I've got it down low, I can go pretty easy. If I was using just an ordinary rip blade, I would lower this all the way down to around about 2 millimeters and do the cut. And then raise the blade up ever so slowly. Make sure it's dead 90 degrees. If it's off 90 degrees, you're going to stuff that scribing cut as well, because the blade is going to travel in a slightly different position as it comes up. All right, I'm going to shut this gate over here. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to be upgrading to a 6-inch system. I'm going to put a 6-inch line from there over the top and then down to the top above the jointer, then 4-inch down onto the actual jointer, and it will have an automatic gate on it that turns the Dusty on at the same time. Very, very, very convenient. All right, where are we? Open the table saw and the one up the top. See, all of this stuff, you'll do it many, many times in your life. Why not sort it out now? That's what I say. All right, so this is going to do the rip, and you can have a look at the quality that comes through. I'm not going to move it at all. I'll finish the cut and I'll bring it over and show you. Just very slowly. And securely. I haven't turned the dust extractor on, have I? Oh well. I'll show you the off-cut to start. This is the side that I cut out. This is the side that I just cut then. Look at that. There's a tiny chip there. The bottom is where you'd expect to see all the chip out. That's pretty nice. No scribing blade and no dust extraction. What a wally. All right, next thing we're going to do is dock it here on the capex. I'll spin this around. Move these out of the way. Just check that you can see all that. Do a quick read. You can. Yeah, I understand that. I add 1 millimeter to the scale on my saw when I'm cutting with this particular blade. All right, let's cut this off. Same thing, I'm going to do a scribing cut to start. Down, then up, all the way out to the front again. All right, that's the cut I got. And the other side, a little bit of chip there. What length did I want? That's not my lingerie, that's the cover for when I do painting. 580. 580. I'll just put this in the right position before I forget it. 580. Beautiful. So this thing here, this is one of those things that stops bugs landing on food. So I pull that up, and that is my radiation deflector. No, it's not. It stops dust settling when I've put a coat on the box of oil, or when I've done some resin pour. I throw that over the top as well. All right, let's do this cut. Yep. 580, 580, 580. Scribing cut. That's nice. There we go. Now, why have I cut all of that? This is where we go to show you the next trick. Let me go back to this camera. Okay. Yeah, all of the shows I think are cancelled. I think they're all done. They're saying at the moment the Brisbane show, and I probably jumped the gun a little bit early with that. It's a shame. I would have liked to have gone to the show. Okay, now what we've got, move this out of the way, over here, is this now. See that? I'm now going to bond this to this, and this is going to be basically the carriage for this box as I cut the top off. It is cancelled, yes. Yes, Hilton. So to do that, I'm going to move a couple of things and put this out. Now, this I use because I don't want to scratch the surface of the box. It's a nice, so this is basically what's called a router mat. It's very soft, and I can put my box upside down on it without worrying about scratching the lid. So I'm going to put it like that. Now, a lot of you will know this. A lot of you probably won't. I'm going to use blue tape now on the bottom of the box. Like so. Now the blue tape is going to hold that on. Now you might be saying, well, it's not double-sided tape, Dave. Well, I know it's not double-sided tape. This is a trick that a few YouTubers have been doing, and I thought, well, I'd give it a try. And I've had a couple of people in the audience say, Dave, you're doing it the old school way using double-sided tape. And you remember the double-sided tape, I spent ages scratching the top off. There we go. I'm going to put another little bit there and there. This is the bottom of the box. Remember, this has got the plywood on it. I'm not going to put tape to overlap itself because then it's going to make it hard for the rest of it. Blue and green tape both work the same, right? Different type of glue, I think. Some of the tapes they say are good to leave on a paint job for a day or two. Other they say, Other they say, you know, you get rid of it, or sorry, other tape they can say you leave there for a couple of weeks. And they're going to charge you differently for that. Here we go. Now I'm going to put blue tape on this. And this, I was really surprised when I tried it out. I thought, wow, this is such a good trick. Bit boring. Talk amongst yourselves. Yes, this. Everyone around the edges is saying, "Wow, this works so well." It does. It does. And yeah, I'm just one of those guys that takes a long time to be convinced about something. How's everyone's Valentine's going? So it's Valentine's Day in Australia because it's Sunday for us, but I'm guessing a lot of people around the world, it's not quite there yet. It's hanging out with the one you love, sending flowers. Oh, I was looking at the news this morning, they were saying in Melbourne, because of the lockdown, all of these poor florists that had to order all of these flowers and everything, you know, months in advance for Valentine's Day, are now locked down. No one's allowed to walk into the store to buy flowers. They've got to order it online or ring up, but they're not allowed to walk into the store to make a selection. The top of the tape when cutting the double tape, and fold the end of the blue tape over. Makes it easy to peel off next time. Yes, but this is a really, really nice tape. And you know where I got it from. I get and this one. So this CA glue, it's a hobby glue, and the tape I actually got from Aldi. So this, you watch this. This just blows me away. I'm going to move that out of the way, and we're going to do it straight onto here. We'll go to Cargill for this part, if I've got it there. No, that's not the one. That's the one I want. There we go. So this is the CA glue, blue tape on the corners. This is where the legs are, so it's sitting proud of the rest of the box. You watch this. Ah, dear. Try not to get any on, well, try to get some on the job, but try not to get any on the wood, David. Done. Let's see how we go. Now I've only got one good chance at putting this on properly. Okay. Making sure that it's not sitting proud anywhere. Done. Push down. Now they say I've got to do this for 60 seconds. So I'm pushing down for 60 seconds. I'm not over the edges anywhere. What I did, I made sure that I was slightly proud. Oh, sorry, I made sure that I wasn't proud at all. I did it in a little bit. We're in New South Wales, no lockdown. So where are my flowers? In the garden, baby. Secateurs are on the shelf out the back. Go and catch yourself some lovely flowers. Okay, so still a little bit to go. I don't want to move it yet. And remember why we're doing this is so when I put it over the saw, see this gap here? There? That would be a headache for me and it would stuff up. I've got a cheeky girl, haven't I? All right, I think that's going to do it. Let's see. It's not going anywhere. Turn it upside down. Not going anywhere. Do you like that? All right, let's go to the other camera and we'll set it up. I'm not even going to go there. You guys are going to get me into trouble. All right, where are we? The camera 3. Now the bottom doesn't need to be flush. I'm in a little bit all the way around so that it doesn't, I don't want the saw or that packer to tilt the thing at all by sitting hard down onto there. If you use this accelerator, it sticks in 5 seconds. I haven't got any accelerator. I can't afford it. I'll buy some. Here we go. It's to the other camera and we'll spin that around to the table saw. Indeed. And we'll switch out the blade. I'll make sure first that everyone can see what's going on there. Yes. Okay. All right. Now to do this, I have to take the dust extraction port off and everything. So let's move all of this out of the way. And we'll raise the blade up. Take the insert out. I made these inserts. They're so good in comparison to other things that are there. Take that off. Quick release. Let's put that back down there like that. Now we'll put a riving knife in. And I need to just nip my clamp up a little bit because the riving knife is a slightly thinner blade than the blade guard. So that's got it locked now. It's not going anywhere. Good. And we're going to take that blade out and put in a rip blade. This is a great blade for cross-cutting, but it's no good for ripping. And that's totally what we're going to be doing, is ripping. Ripping basically means cutting along the grain, if you weren't aware. Half past. We're doing well. I thought this would be an interesting thing for everyone to watch. I was thinking about doing it during the week, and I thought, no, just slow it up. Always put your blades down. This is polyethylene, so it's not going to damage the blade at all. This is a CMT blade, the rip blade that I have. And I've used this for many, many years, and it works fine. Always make sure that you put the blade in the right direction. If you don't know which the right direction is, you shouldn't be using a table saw. It's a bit harsh, is it? But a fact's a fact. Now, I've put links in the description box as well for the tools I'm using today. So, table saw and the drum sander. It's not this particular table saw. It's another one that's out of the same stable. This one isn't made anymore. Whichever table saw you want to use is fine by me. Now, I'm going to lower it down to around there. So the blade is now protruding by around 3 or 4 millimeters. So it's just over 1/8 of an inch. This is going to be a scribing cut. If I was to do the first cut on the box at full height, the blades, I'll show you exactly what I mean because some people may not be up on that. The rest of you who know what I'm talking about, that's fine. See this tooth here? As the blade is turning, it's pushing straight down. It's going to tear out the timber on the bottom side, particularly because the Australian cedar that I'm using is pretty soft. So to stop that happening, and also I don't want to have that much blade exposed, that's dangerous. So to stop that happening, we lower it all the way down to around about there, about 3 or 4 mil. And you can see as the blade is doing its cut, the angle is very shallow. It's only just going like that. It's got all of the rest of the timber behind it to support it, so it's not going to get hurt. Give me a second. I'm going to pop these over here on their containers and move that out of the way, and then bring this guy over to about there. Now let's get the box. All right, I was trying to do a quick read. Now this time I'm going to make sure I turn on the dust extractor as well. You can see I want to cut through around about 4 millimeters below this dovetail. So to do that, I'll get my tape and I'm going to measure up from the base because this is going to be our reference point. So I want it to end up at 105 on the outside. Maybe 105 on the outside. All right. 105 to the outside. Now the teeth in the blade have got a set, so they're left, left, right on this particular one. So I'm going to just do a quick measure here. 105 to the outside, and I'm going to check that dimension by measuring from here up to there. So it's going to be, no, 105 is going to be a little bit much. What have we got down there? It's the same. Oh, jingoes, 10. It should make it 107. So I'm going to go 104 on the scale, 107 here. So on the 107 there, 104 on the scale. Beautiful. It'll work. It'll work. Trust me. Now the last cut that I want to do, this is another little interesting thing. The last cut that I want to do is going to be along a flat. I don't want to be doing the last cut with the box standing up tall. So let me do the 4 cuts and the scribing cut, and then we'll go to the next step. All right. Turn on the dust extractor, David. That's better. What a difference that makes. All right. Now, because the blade is down so low as well, we've got to be very conscious that it's there. All right, here we go. All good. I'm going to just push it through slowly. Take it off first and have a quick look. Yep, that's a good spot for it to happen. Remember, this is my scribing cut. Pass the riving knife, bring it around. And that's one of the reasons I've got the riving knife there, is I can't pull the box back over the saw without actually being fully aware of it. See how we're going? I shouldn't really be showing you that while I've got the blade spinning. Let's just keep going, get this part done. and the last cut, or the last scribing cut. And turn her off. Wait for the blade to stop, and then we'll have a look at everything, what I'm going to do next. Okay, so you can see that's a pretty decent cut, and it goes right the way around at the right spot, and I've gone deep enough to actually give me a scribing cut around the corners on the dovetails that I've created. I think that'll be a nice proportion. As I said, it's going to give enough meat for the dovetail to hold on to that pin, both sides. Lovely. All right, back over here now. And we'll go back to this one. All right, let me have a look. Countdown, please cut that box, hold your breath for 10 minutes. Don't I give you a bad time? We've been talking about snow, yes. One, the long edge cut last. Not in this particular run. In the next one, yes, the long edge will be the last one. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create what's called a fillet. And I'm going to create it to slip into here. And that's why we've got the drum sander out. I have already started machining this down to 1/8 of an inch thickness. It's got to be the same thickness as the kerf on the saw blade. So it's got to fit into there nicely. Now at the moment, that's too thick. It won't go in. Now why are we doing this? Well, because on my last pass on the long side, I want the rest of the box to be holding itself so it doesn't close in on the blade right at the end. Okay? There we go. So that's the next step. So we're going to use the drum sander. Now, what have I got in there? I've got 60 grit paper in there. When I first started using this machine, I was thinking, all right, well, 120, 240, I've got some 340, whatever it was. And the thing is, I was starting to polish. It wasn't cutting very well. And then I started using the 60 grit paper. Now, believe it or not, that is 60 grit across the grain. These are amazing machines. So if you think you're going to go too aggressive, don't panic. It's not like an ordinary thing. Yes, to keep it parallel, indeed. So in here, I better give it a quick clean. You can see it needs a little bit of a clean. All making sense now, Ron? Okay, so this is my belt cleaning stick. I will shut this blast gate down here. The reason being, the blast gate behind me, up here, I don't know if you can see it, is an automatic one. This is from autoblastgates.com.au. This is, that's a 4-inch. I'm going to put a 6-inch up there over the jointer. And slowly I'm going to reduce the times that I need to go and open and close, or forget to turn it on. Like remember with the table saw, I forgot to turn it on. One other thing, while we've got the drum sander here, this one I like a lot. The reason I like this one, it doesn't have a sandpaper conveyor belt. See this? This is a sandpaper style conveyor belt, 120 grit paper. A lot of drum sanders have got that to pull things through. And it gives grip. You won't have it slipping at all. But if you want to put something through that's got a finish on one side and not on the other, it's going to scratch it. That's what, this is very, very kind to what you're doing. So when I put things through, if I think it's going to slip at all, I'm on the other side and I'm assisting, I'm pulling it through at the same time. All right, you listen to this while it all starts up. This is just amazing because I'm going to clean the belt with this. That's opening. Dust extraction straight away. I love it. So here we go. Beautiful. It's all going to turn itself off. The belt's nice and clean, as you can see. Locked. Wait for it. Turns off. How cool is that? All right. Now, I'm going to make sure that I'm not down too low. So turning counterclockwise takes me down, so I'm going to bring it back so it's facing me. And we've got the speed up around about 3/4. Okay? Wait for it. All running. Okay, that was in the right position. It's not cutting at all at the moment. That's fine, I'll let it run through. Good. It's beautiful. I love this machine. Great value. And it works really, really well. I'll take it down to 1/4 to where it was. You'll hear it start to sand. We're going to give it a few passes at this thickness. Cool. Another one. Okay, you're going to hear it cut a bit harder this time. Yes. And check. Not there yet. Take it down a little bit more. They say that the cut for a 1/4 turn is 1/64 of an inch. This one will go down to basically whatever you want. If you want to cut something, or if you want to sand something thinner, put it on a sled. We're getting close. So nice. Dale, it's sandpaper, 60 grit sanding paper. I'll spin the machine around in a minute so you can have a look inside. Oh, we're getting close. Look at that. Very close. That's why I love this machine. Just a touch more. How cool is that? Close behind me. Our maximum thickness, 5 inches, 130 mil. I'm glad you're there, baby. You want to have a look inside. I might be able to spin her around just a little bit so you can have a look in there. Okay, so it's a roll that has 60 grit sanding paper on it. And this is another reason why I want better dust extraction. I'll be running the 6-inch main down through here, just to absolutely make it very, very safe in here for me. Now the next thing to do, I'm going to cut these. It's beautiful. I'm going to cut them so that they're this long. So I think I'll set the capex up and just dock them off. Let me get this part done. I don't think I'll spin a camera around for this. I'll just knock them off. You don't need to see me do this part. Tape measure is always a good idea, if you can find it, David. I think I've left it over there. Found it. All right, it was $2.95, wasn't it? Yes, 295. We'll set this at 295. Oh, you might be interested in looking at this. This is something that a lot of people get confused with. Let's have a look. We're getting through most of it. Here we go. Right. Over here, you might notice that my calibrations, bring this up here a little bit. The calibrations here for the saw over there are way back here. So I can set that, that's 500 millimeters on the scale here, but the distance from there to there now is 500 millimeters. And it was really easy to do. I just set this to 0. Before it used to come through a little bit further. I'd set this part to 0, and you can see it travels all the way down. And well, at the moment, that's 30 millimeters on the scale, and I've got 30 millimeters there. And it's just, there's a few people that have got away from using the fences. I'm not one of them. I love this style of fence. There's a few people are doing T-tracks in the bench here and have a sliding stop. Well, it can't get me over there unless you've got an extension like that, and then this thing's going to be a little bit ungainly as you're doing that. And also I've got a relief cut in the bottom here to let sawdust get out of the way as I push timber up to it. So that's 295. Yep. And that's also, that relief cut is making it a little bit hard for me to go right on the spot, but we're there. Okay. Earmuffs and what have you. 295, and then I'll check it. Just give this a quick check that I'm right. Yes, perfect. Do another one at that length. Back just a touch. Beautiful. All right, we'll spin this camera around this way again. Yeah, about there. All righty. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, look, Greg, I might be upgrading the extractor as well, or I've got two of them here, and I may end up incorporating everything into one system and then putting two extractors at the end. Now, turn this back just a little bit towards me there. That's probably going to be a good spot to have it. The crucial thing with this is I do not move this rip fence. Remember last week when Cole was doing his dovetails on the little separators, the support for the box sliding tills to move around in. Whatever he set the depth of that dovetail, that small dovetail cutter, he had to leave that height there so that everything worked. This is a similar kind of thing with this. I'm going to leave that height there. I'm going to raise the blade until we are not too high, about there. Now I've got some scrap from when I was actually making the box. These are my little test pieces. So I'm going to check that we're up just enough. Beautiful. Lock the blade there. Now bring this over, and this is the part where I need to start on the flat, and I'm actually going to start on the hinge side. Now I know which is the hinge side and which isn't, because, hear that? That's the side I put the silicone in first before I put the lid in. The other side had a couple of dobs of silicone on the top, so it's not going to be as strong. So this is the really, really strong side of the box. Hear that? You won't hear that over here. So I'm going to do the top side first, and I'll finish on the hinge side because I want to. I worked out a reason the other night why I was going to do it that way, and so that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now we're going to cut 3 sides to start. Actually, let's start at, I'll do it as I said, on the hinge side. Turn the dusty on. I'm thinking as I'm going and concentrating on what's happening with the camera as well. So if I don't talk too much in this part, forgive me. All good. Turn the saw on. Be so aware of that blade. Really do. I'm going to stand her up. Actually, I'm going to do that end first. Be careful that you don't get any kickback. Beautiful. Now I'm getting a little wobble there. So I'm going to turn it off. Wait for the blade. Done. Okay. That is cut, and so is that. So now I'm going to put this in here. Yep. So it can't go anywhere. Stand her up. Only very softly pull it. I don't want to deform this. Actually, I'm going to bring it down so it's close up. Actually, I'm actually going to bring this down to about there, but still clear of the blade. So when I put the clamp on there, it's going to be against the foot. That's better. That's nice and strong. That's not going to go anywhere. Going to check my height. I need to raise that up above there. That's all good. It's not going to roll because the clamp is over the top of the fence there. Bring it back. Okay, dusty on. Off. Wait for it to stop. Okay, my last pass, it's looking pretty good. Is that nice and clean? My last pass, and I'm going to move this to here, like so. Back against there so I can check where everything is. And I'm also going to do it at the other end. Again, check the height. That's cool. Now what's going to happen is there's no way I'll put a clamp or two on the top as well. There's no way that that's going to be able to close up on it. See, this is a big box. If it was a smaller box, I wouldn't need to go to such pains to do all of this. But because it's such a big box, I've really got to have my wits about me, about everything that's happening, and make sure that the box doesn't close in on the cut on this final pass. Because once I've done these cuts, the other reason that this is going to hold it all together so it doesn't go flying. Once I've finished all these cuts, this is going to be two different parts. All right. And dusty on. Cool. So, be so aware of where your fingers are, you can treat this all from up the top now. I'm totally away from everything. From the blade, I know where my clamps are. I'm finishing the cut. I will wait for that to stop. I've still got all of these. Very important. Okay, let's take her over. We're nearly out of time. I'll undo it here. I'll go to the other camera. There we go. All right, there it is. There's the purple heart back again on the inside of the box. That's the lid. And this is the flat section of the box. I know where it's all going to be because the grain is continuous. Oh, wow, have a look inside there. That's just, that has ended up, there's no kind of slots anywhere else. It's just cut it perfectly. Now I'm going to take the this off. Give me a second, I'll grab a wide chisel. Watch this. Doesn't matter about the outside. That can always have a little bit of a sand. That's not a problem. So there we go. There's the bottom of the box now with its feet. And there's the inside of the box. And the top of the box. And let's see if I can get the grain the right direction. Love this. You watch it when it goes back on. You would not know. You would not know, would you? See that? Look at it inside. The grain is all following inside as well. Now during the week, Cole posted some hinges down to me, but they haven't arrived yet. So they're corner hinges. I'm going to fit them this week and keep on working with the box. This is basically the last you'll see of this box, and you know, I'll show you as it's going along during the week. But next week, Vicky and I, up in the house, we have kind of a little area where there's a couple of computers, and that's where we sit down and do our business and all that kind of stuff. No, not a piano hinge. I'm going to use corner hinges that'll disappear inside. You won't see them. And also it holds it, so it can't roll back. Okay. So next week, as I say, I'm going to show you different ways of creating a round and a hollow. Now, there's so many ways of doing this, and I'm going to explain why I'm going to do this. This one here, these lights I want to fit above this workbench area. Now these are lights that you put in a ceiling, and they're going to go over this area here. You can see the light is up, up near the top there, and it's going to shed down over the top of that computer area. There's another picture so you can see what I'm up against. I don't want to do any cuts into the existing unit that I made there. I want to maintain that round and set that light in there so it looks really nice. So next week we're going to be working out how to do this and basically create the female section for that nosing. So it's called a coving, and it'll work well. Nice box. They should look good with the quadrant hinges. Thanks, Cole. So, there's the old jointer going, and back to me again. What have we got here? I'm going to read through to make sure. I didn't get to use the hollows and rounds this week, but we might have a bit of a go at that next week. So let's see how we go. All right, that's it. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And Patreon chat is going to be on another minute or so after I shut the show down. Look at what's happened to me. How cool is that? And as I say, look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and I shall see you all next week. Here's hoping, God willing. See you later. Bye.